Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I just hope that you're doing fine wherever you are. So as you usually know, I'm always against any racist behavior which are happening to black people across the continent. So there is a recent menace which is happening in the States. Um, Preferably is facing my fellow brothers and sisters back in the United States. So the video is about this black American lady who tries to address the issue that some Hispanics are looking at black Americans as lazy just because they chose not to do some type of job, and now they look them as lazy people. You know, this is something which is crazy, because historically we know that black Americans or African Americans have ever worked in the United States for more than 400 years. And that being said, it means that they have contributed a lot to the United States. So if they sit back and say, no, our ancestors have been working for this country for a long time, now we want something different, some people misunderstand them and start looking at them as lazy people. The same scenario also happens with also African immigrants who also sometimes go to the US. Because a person has refused to take a given job doesn't mean that they are lazy. They have a reason. They have a reason as to why they're not doing that. And some, if explained to them that they have been working in that country for a long time and there is certain type of jobs that they can't take, and some people look at them as lazy people, and that's something which is not right. It is preference. It is not like they don't want to do it. So in this video I'm also going to try to highlight the stereotypes that immigrants, or generally what happened in the video about some Hispanic thinking that black Americans are lazy. So let's watch this video and then come back. As usual do, I'll always have something to say. Always stay tuned to ensure that you hear what I have to say about this. Also, if you're watching this video for the first time, you can consider subscribe to the channel, join my membership and see what I can offer you. So let's dive into the video.
Come here. I need all my Mexicans, my Latinos, and my Spaniards to come here. Let me talk to y'all right quick. Let me explain something to y'all right quick. See, in the video, the young lady was stating that, I need these Americans that said that they don't need us to come on and do what we was doing, right? Let me explain something to y'all. What y'all was doing, see, us as brown people, because see, this here is black right here. This is a steering wheel and it's black. I don't even look like that. What y'all was doing, we done already did. Us brown people, we done already did it. See, y'all, at least y'all had a choice. Y'all had a choice. Y'all got a choice to get up and leave. We didn't have that choice. See, y'all had a choice to pick fruits and vegetables. We didn't have that choice. We had to pick that cotton. See, y'all had a choice to watch their kids if y'all wanted to. We didn't have a choice. See, we had to watch their children. We had to, our ancestors had to watch their children. Our ancestors had to have their children and nurse their children on our ancestors' breasts. Our ancestors had to leave their kids. Our ancestors had to be disconnected from their children, and they didn't know where their children were. Y'all had a choice. See, y'all had a choice to build those houses. See, we didn't have that choice. We didn't have that choice. We had to build it. We had to stay in those fields. We had to do those things. So when y'all sit back and y'all think about what y'all had a choice to do and what the Americans, the African American people didn't have a choice to do, I want y'all to sit down and really think about it. Think about the fact that I had a choice. And yet we still have racism, because I just seen a Latino woman downgrading brown skinned people like myself and saying that we're lazy, and we're not lazy and we don't steal. We just already did what you guys, we did it already. You guys were doing it, and we already did it. See, we made this country. We built this country. Our my ancestors built this country. My ancestors made it so that they could use the toilet. My ancestors made it so that a car could stop at a stop sign. My ancestors made it so that they could eat peanut butter. My ancestors made it so that you could have a pave. My ancestors made it so that the things that they needed in their lives to adjust washers and dryers and all this GPSs, we already did it. So I know y'all gonna be strong and y'all gonna accomplish what y'all need to accomplish out of this. Be easy.
All I'm saying, and all I'm gonna say, is I don't want to hear no American saying how Hispanics take my jobs, Mexicans take all our jobs. DeSantis passed that law for y'all. Go get your jobs back. I want to see you in the fields picking that fruit and them vegetables. I want to see you on them construction sites building them houses in these buildings. Let me see you pushing the mop and pushing the broom. Let me see you take care of your own children. My people come here to work. And y'all say y'all want to work. Here's your chance.
At first I was going to leave this alone because it was like, it's not even worth it. But, actually this is a perfect example of, how ridiculous racism from the Hispanic community is towards black people. Because here we have a video, if you guys go back and watch it, where Cornell Robinson is speaking on behalf of the Mexican community. And this person, who was a Mexican woman, decided to take it upon herself to still be anti-black and still come here and talk about how lazy black people are. Baby, black people are not lazy. They worked for free for 500 plus years. And what is happening with the Mexican community is that, unfortunately, this country is exploiting their labor for cheap cost because they can't get black people to do it for free anymore. Your people are being exploited. And you take that as a matter of pride. And I myself, as a Hispanic person who has worked construction, because I have worked doing tile, framing houses, and doing roofing myself, have heard contractors who are white tell us as a labor force that we are better than the black Americans because we actually work. And they're not doing it because we are actually better than the black Americans. They're doing it to keep us in our place and to make us feel like we are better than. And you bought that. You bought that lie. And you ran with it. You're being exploited. Your people are being exploited and given minimum of the cost that black Americans would expect, because black Americans are not going to work for that the way that you work. For that cheap. That's the thing about it that you guys don't get. You're mad at black Americans, not realizing that the people taking advantage of you are Americans. Come on now.
Anti-black Dominicans who deny their blackness came for me in the comment section. And as you can see, they want to be associated to the colonizer and not the slaves. They want to be associated with Europeans and not Africans. And even the white people in the Dominican Republic are the smallest minority, they still want to be associated with Europeans. And the funny thing is that everybody that was commenting is closer to being black than white. And that hurts them. This Empire King guy with the Dominican flag goes to every single video that talks about blackness in the Latin community to basically say the same thing he was saying in my comment section, like 100 comments just by him and another girl that is also a black Dominican in denial. Average Dominican is way more than 50% European. You're not even a quarter. Dominicans, the average Dominican is not 50% European. We have our own country and we don't have to fit to be embraced or accepted like African Americans in the United States. Haitians are literally our brothers. I have no Haitian sibling. Because in the video I said that Haitians are literally our brothers. We share a fucking island. And this girl, Quisqueya, come on, that's what we call our country. And her username is Quisqueya. You can see where I'm going with this one. The answer is simpler than that, but you want to turn it on Dominicans for clout like you always do. I have like 100 other comments from her too, denying her blackness. And she even mentioned something about me being racist towards Mexican and Haitians at the border when I was clearly defending them. I defend Haitians from whatever atrocities are committed against them in the Dominican Republic. And yes, that doesn't make me any less Dominican. I just accept the facts the way they are, and I acknowledge when something is wrong, even if it's the country that I was born in and that I grew up in. Something apparently they cannot do because apparently that makes them less patriotic. As you can see here, the majority of Dominican people identify as mixed race, which includes mestizo or indio and mulatto. A smaller percentage of Dominican people identify as black and even a smaller percentage as white. And as you can see, only a small percentage of Dominican accept their blackness. The other ones are black, but they just don't identify as such, because they are a little bit lighter than the Dominican that identifies as black. But the fact that they decide to reject their blackness does not mean that they are not black, and does not mean that our country is mostly black. And I'm gonna make another video to talk more about history and why there's this anti-blackness in the Dominican Republic, where I don't have to cite all of these racist Dominicans who are denying their blackness, because honestly, it's tiring. But I'm tired of Dominicans and Latin people denying our African roots.
If you've ever wondered how the Lulu people are in the Dominican Republic, let me show you this. A few days ago, one of the biggest newspapers in the country posted this. La periodista afrolatina Inglia Calderón aboga por dar visibilidad a los feminicidios. People in the comments went crazy because of the word afrolatina. ¿Y por qué es que tienen que decir afrolatina? ¿Quieren ustedes ahora traer el complejo afroamericano a Latinoamérica? Les encanta recordarles que son africanos solo porque son pobres. ¿Por qué hay que tildarla de afro? Los europeos blancos llegaron a América y les dicen americanos. ¿Por qué no euroamericano? Unfortunately, this is not uncommon for the Dominican Republic because most people are very delulu and in denial of the diversity of the country, to the point where we still have Dominican Yahtzees literally harassing black Dominicans and idolizing Christopher Columbus. We also have white Dominicans making fiestas barriales, dressing up in blackface, mocking poor black people, and to this day, even if most of the country is black, we have never had a black president. How crazy is that? But don't get it wrong, this isn't just a Dominican Republic issue. Frankly, all of Latin America has racist undertones. I mean, just look at what our media looks like. So yeah, tons of people will say that racism is only a United States thing, but the truth is that racism as we know it today was pretty much invented the second that crusty, disgusting, pasty old man Christopher Columbus stepped foot in our land.
Does it surprise you that California's largest racial bias cases are of Latino employees discriminating against and abusing black employees? So this is what's happening. The LA Times reports that black employees were being called the N-word, having bananas waved at them, and subject to other intolerable work conditions at the hands of their Latino supervisors and peers. One black man even experienced night terrors and was diagnosed with PTSD after the racism he experienced. But it also went beyond insults. Latino supervisors would needlessly fire black employees and or pass them up for roles for less experienced Latino employees. And recently, similar incidents occurred at a UCLA hospital, a Century Valley vegetable farm, and a San Diego college. According to the article, one LA attorney said that 20 years ago, the feeling was that minorities could not be discriminated against each other. But in answer to my original question, the article also points out that anti-black prejudice in Latino-dominated workplaces comes as no surprise to scholars of race relations due to a shared legacy of slavery and racial prejudice in the US and Latin America. But what are your thoughts? Comment, share, and follow for more.
A lot of people don't understand when I say that Mexicans are culturally racist. They think that I'm calling us openly racist. We are culturally racist, and this is how. Part of our culture is to frown upon dark-skinned people. It's been passed down to us by the Spaniards, by our colonizers, by the people that conquered us, taught us that dark skin is inferior, light skin is superior. We were taught that. It was passed down to us, meaning it's part of our culture. We are culturally racist in this aspect. That doesn't mean I go out in the streets and want to hurt black people because they're black.
Right, right.
It means that our teachings, the way we're raised, is that we are raised to subconsciously believe that dark skin is inferior and light skin is superior. Another element in our Mexican culture is Univision News, Univision Channel. That channel is run by white Latinos. The ideologies and subliminal teachings that they teach is very similar to Fox News. White supremacist-ish. They make efforts to depict dark-skinned people as criminals, that whenever they even bother sharing news about dark-skinned people is when they do something wrong. But yet, when they want to mention anything that has to do with light-skinned people, specifically white people, is to depict them as them doing good deeds around the world, feeding the homeless, etc. You get it. Yeah. My grandmother was visiting one day from Mexico. She's never lived in the United States. She has no idea what life is out here. She was watching Univision News, where they depicted a black American committing a crime. She turned around and said, "Oye, estos negros solo estorban, ¿verdad? Hey, these black folks, all they do is get in the way, huh?" Here's the interesting part. She's never met a black person in her life. She has no idea what it's like to interact with a black person, but yet she already has an opinion about black people as a whole. Why? Because part of our culture, in this particular case, Univision News, since we were children, we have been subliminally taught the blacks are bad, criminals, etc. And whites are good, decent, giving, saviors, etc. We're taught that. Hearing her express such a hateful remark about a people that I knew for a fact she's never even interacted with. You don't even know a black person. How dare you come here to this country and have a whole opinion about these people? I resented her deeply for it. I regret it because you can't hate her for that. She never got the opportunity to learn what you have. I got the privilege of learning things that I self-taught. Since she's been a child, she's been working in the fields. Never had the opportunity to sit and read a book to educate, nothing. All she ever has to teach her anything was this racist, biased news program. How could I blame her? She doesn't even know any better. And even if I sat with her today, I don't even think I could help her understand at this point, because she has lived 80 years worth of only understanding this mentality. A lot of people go to their graves thinking this is normal.
For the longest time, I've seen immigrants going to the US. For the longest time, I've seen people who have come from the United States who usually say that, I don't want to associate with black people in the US because they are lazy. At some point, people also came out saying that their parents told them not to associate with black Americans because they believed that they were lazy. And this thing which is happening to Hispanics, Hispanics have a history with black people. The history is that some Hispanic people who are way a little bit lighter see themselves as superior as compared to black people. Little did they know that they need to come together with black people to make the US great. And as you know, the population, it is believed that the Mexican population, the Hispanic population and the black population will increase in the future. And the opposite will happen on the other people. So there are certain kind of things which are happening in the States. That is to say that people who always go there always believe that black people are lazy, especially American blacks, that they are lazy. Now see, it is crucial to address this misconception with sensitivity and thoughtful examination, because it is sensitive. You can't just walk up and term a person as they are lazy and you don't know any historical thing which is happening in their country. So with me, I prepared some presentation to demystify some stereotypic things which people associate with black Americans, especially when they go to the United States. And these are the things which happens. I believe that mostly it is most people don't understand why some things are happening to blacks in the America. So one thing that I came to notice, which is always happening to Latinas or generally immigrants who go to the United States, the first one is the cultural stereotype. Negative stereotypes and misconception perpetuated by media historical biases and societal conditioning can influence how different groups perceive each other. If individuals within the immigrant or Latino communities have been exposed to stereotype portraying Black Americans as lazy, it can lead to internalized bias. When you are in a society where if you go to a place, people say that a given type of people are lazy, when you got there without your side of the story, you'll always believe that until you associate with them, until you come to get their part of the story. It is always good to hear the other side of the story, because the one-sided part of the story, is always biased. So getting the other side of the story, I believe it's important. When getting the other side of the story makes you see things clearly. So we have cultural misconception where people come from, maybe from Mexico, or maybe from where the Hispanics come from. They believe that Black people are lazy, and so let's go and get their jobs. That's what they think. Little did they know that they need to understand the historical context or things which happened as to why Blacks don't want to take some type of job, and it doesn't mean that they are lazy. Another thing is lack of interaction and understanding. Limited personal interaction and cultural exchanges between different racial and ethnic groups can foster misunderstanding and reinforce stereotypes. Without meaningful interaction and first-hand experiences, individuals may rely on misinformation or generalization about other groups. Why is this point important? If Blacks and Hispanics come together today, there could be unity. And for me, I usually say this. I usually prefer if Hispanics and Black Americans intermarry each other, because they are not far away from each other. Even if you look at the origin of Hispanics, especially the Afro-Latinos, you'll realize that there is a quite resemblance, and resemblance is the melting point, which is Africa. Africa, the mother of everything. Afro-Latinos trace their roots back in Africa. Same as American Blacks, they also trace their roots back in Africa. So this being said, it means that if these people can intermarry each other, there could be no damage. And it is because, another thing is because we also want the unity. If we have the unity between the two groups, it means that these misconceptions, these stereotypes will be reduced, because we will get a broader understanding of each other. And that's what this point tries to explain. That is lack of interaction and understanding. Number 3 is socioeconomic disparities. Socioeconomic factors play a significant role in shaping perception of work ethic. Black Americans have historically faced systemic barriers to educational and economic opportunities, leading to disproportion, poverty levels, and limited access to resources. Without a nuanced understanding of the cultural inequalities contributing to these disparities, some individuals may misinterpret the effect of systemic racism as a lack of motivation or laziness. Some people fail to understand, and I think this is the same thing that I was trying to explain to you, because if a person doesn't want to do a given type of job, you might push them and say that, oh, you're lazy, that's why you don't want to do this, instead of understanding that these people have gone through a lot historically, and they know their history, and they know that their forefathers have been working and have been doing this in this country, and now they deserve certain types of privileges. And funny enough, it is these privileges that immigrants usually enjoy in the names of Black people. So they don't understand the struggles that these Black people have gone through. Instead, they just come out and start calling them as lazy people, and it is not right. It is not right, because it is the rights or the privileges that Black Americans or American Blacks, what they should be enjoying is what you put yourself into. It's what you cover yourself with. And that's not right. Instead of terming people lazy, go get to understand what's really the root of why are they not taking such a kind of jobs. And if you want to take those kind of jobs, well and good, take them and leave Blacks alone out of your mouth. Number 4 is internalized oppression. I'll explain it. Internalized racism and internalized oppression can also influence how marginalized groups perceive each other. If individuals within immigrant or Latino communities have internalized negative stereotypes about black Americans due to their own experiences of discrimination or marginalization. It can impact their perception of other minority group. That's why I've said it can't be that bad if a Latina person gets intermarried with black Americans, because it will foster understanding between the two groups. It will create unity, and it will create so much understanding between the groups so that we can try to root out this misconception, these misunderstandings, and get to know the true reality or the true pain that these groups have. The fifth that I'd also like to talk about is the confirmation bias. Confirmation bias, the tendency to seek out information that confirms pre-existing beliefs, can also contribute to the perpetuation of stereotypes. So listen, if individuals only see or hear about isolated incidents that seems to support the stereotypes of black Americans being lazy, they may unconsciously latch onto these examples without considering the broader context. And the broader context, it's what I have been telling you from then, So this is just a confirmation bias, because these people are raised in a society where people are racist, and now they feel like, I don't associate with black people because of the misconception that they are lazy. Go there, interact with those people, go see their perspective and learn from them. They also learn from you, because it goes both ways. And when it goes both ways, we get to understand each other. So that was my presentation about this issue. You guys can feel free to tell me what you think about this. This is Eugene Talkie Stories. If you're watching this video for the first time and to reach this point, you can consider subscribing to my channel. I hope this video reaches you well wherever you are. Until then, peace, love, and harmony. And peace always be with you. See you in my next episode. Salute.